Home to many exhibitions each year, the Bogigian Gallery is centrally positioned in Lord's Hall on Wilson College's campus. This gallery showcases local and national artists, as well as work from Wilson College students. However, the story behind the person for whom the Bogigian Gallery is named is interesting and essential to Wilson College and its history. Hagop Bogigian was born and raised in Harput, a province in Turkey. During his time leading and teaching an Armenian school in Diyarbakir, Bogigian became curious about America and began looking for an opportunity to travel there. Despite the dissuasion of others, Bogigian at age 19 and with little money headed toward America accompanied by a doctor. Bogigian left Turkey in 1876. His journey was long and full of obstacles. Due to the language barrier and his heritage, Bogigian was often treated harshly. During this time, Bogigian wanted to learn English and relied heavily on the doctor for support. The doctor had agreed to teach Bogigian English in exchange for Bogigian's help with the children, but to his dismay, the doctor refused to allow the children to speak English around Bogigian. Bogigian parted ways with the doctor in England and again set off for America. He landed in Massachusetts and began to learn the tannery business and finally began to learn English. Bogigian also learned the printing business and made a decision to head back to Turkey. Once back, Bogigian was able to introduce American tools such as the sewing machine and began his tanning and printing trade as well as selling hardware, but ultimately his business failed. Still ambitious, Bogigian returned to America with money he was loaned. He brought with him a few pieces of jewelry and 3 Oriental rugs to sell and help him get a fresh start. In Massachusetts again, Bogigian wandered in front of a shoe store where he envisioned selling his items in a window display. He went to the owner and worked out an agreement for the space. Unknown to Bogigian at the time, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow approached the shoe store perplexed at the correlation between selling rugs and shoes in the same store. Interested in Bogigian and his Oriental rugs, he agreed to purchase 2 of them. Longfellow, who was connected with other wealthy Americans, recommended and had high regards for Bogigian's merchandise. As a result, Bogigian was able to sell the jewelry and obtain more rugs that were consigned to him and sell those as well. Bogigian became close to Longfellow and came in contact with other well-known Americans. His business grew and gained clientele, including members of the Vanderbilt family. He opened his own store and began hiring people as his business grew, all eventually making him the first Armenian millionaire in America. Later, he became interested in government systems, increasing his knowledge of the English language, and fighting for justice. In 1895, Bogigian and the rest of America heard of the Armenian massacres that were taking place in Turkey. Bogigian knew he needed to help the Armenian people and began his efforts instantaneously. He formed a committee and went to Clara Barton and the American Red Cross and President Cleveland for aid. Later, the American Red Cross, the American Board, the New England Committee, and the New York Committee held a conference in which they discussed relief efforts for the Armenians seeking refuge. During the massacres, hundreds of thousands of Armenians lost their lives, including some direct relatives of Bogigian. Once these tragic events took place, Bogigian made it his priority to stand up for Armenians and help fight against inequality and prejudices in all forms. During a trip to Washington, Bogigian attended church where Reverend Dr. Joseph R. Sizu was preaching. Sizu, who was once a part of the Wilson community, asked Bogigian to join him and the Wilson College president, Dr. Ethelbert Warfield, for lunch. Through this initial meeting, a friendship was formed between Dr. Warfield and Bogigian became interested in Wilson College. In time, Bogigian visited the campus in disguise to get a real observation on what the college was like. It was then that Bogigian saw the opportunities and the excellent and equal education that Wilson College provided to its students. As a result, Bogigian left most of his estate to Wilson College. Among his estate were some of his exquisite Persian rugs and other valuables. In addition, Bogigian created a scholarship in his name for deserving students of Armenian descent. This scholarship is still in place at Wilson and has opened many doors to its recipients. How did you hear about the Bogigian Scholarship?
I think there was a brochure with all the financial aid and scholarships for Armenian students, and not only, just in general. That's where I found it, and many other financial aid options and scholarships and grants. So I just started applying to as many places as I can, and I finished the application process with only the places that I really wanted to be in. So, and there was the Bogigian Scholarship listed in that brochure, and it said a full scholarship is provided, will be granted to a woman for 4-year undergraduate studies in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, Wilson College. So the first thing I did, I looked at the map where Chambersburg is, and I saw that it's not far away from New York City, which was my dream, to go to New York City and actually live there or just, be there. I would never be able to afford education, American education. My parents would never be able to afford that.
What is your major and your future career goals?
I am a dual major here at Wilson. I major in biology and chemistry. So I hope to eventually go into the field of criminology, and that's where I'm applying for my master's degree. Ideally, I want to get to Columbia University. After that, I see two paths. If I like criminology, which I've never done it, I know it should be similar, it should be connected to my majors, to my biology and chemistry, but I have never been out in field. I've done the lab part, I've done the tests and everything, but I've never done the actual criminology part. So I don't know if I would like it that much. If I do, I intend to, after I get the master's degree, I intend to work for NYPD. I teach for a while now, and I teach in the Academic Support Center. I'm a tutor for biology, physics, and math. So I like teaching. I know that I like it. So that will be the second plan.
What extracurricular activities are you involved in at Wilson College?
The first and most important thing is orchestras. I dance, and I've been dancing all my life. I've been dancing since I was 6, so that will be 14 years now. And I choreograph for orchestras. I participate in all its concerts. This is practically my 3rd year in orchestras, and I love it. Another important thing is Mohiba, which is we call it the international club, but really it's for everyone. And Mohiba is a Thai word meaning unity among nations. So that's what we do.
Although his rugs and jewelry had to be sold during the school's financial struggles in the 1980s, his legacy still remains. One way his name is carried on at Wilson College is through the Bogigian Gallery in Lord's Hall. The Bogigian Gallery has served to educate the community and display the works of talented artists for many years. Each semester, the gallery hosts various collections that inspire both artists and audiences, just as Bogigian has inspired those at Wilson College.
And that was our gallery for years, until we moved into this space, where the Bogigian Gallery was where the Bogigian Gallery was for years, until we moved into this space in Lord's Hall. And this was a converted office and office space. We took down part of the wall, and but decided to leave one wall in place because we could make use out of that. So really we have sort of a larger room that is the existing Bogigian Gallery, and then a smaller room on this side. And we pulled the tiles out and painted the ceiling black, so it has this sort of industrial look to it.
Exhibits in the Bogigian Gallery have included artwork by Howard Tran, Linda Stein's collection, The Fluidity of Gender, and more recently, Aaron Trayer's New Ground collection. Wilson College has also paid tribute to Bogigian by having the Bogigian Convocations. These typically consisted of a luncheon and a lecture from a professional of Armenian descent. Speakers have included Dr. Ruben P. Adelaine and his lecture on the democracy movement in Armenia in 1990, and 1982's convocational speaker, historian Marjorie Hospian-Dobkin, who spoke on the Armenian genocides. Hagop Bogigian has played an important role in Wilson College's history. Bogigian was a dedicated individual who understood the importance of equality and hard work, as well as acts of kindness. He will always be a part of the Wilson community, and his spirit lives on through his legacy and his impact.